My coworker staged a public meltdown over a missing file and accused me of sabotage in front of everyone. She's always been jealous, she screamed. She hates that I'm younger and getting promoted faster. I walked out without responding, and that afternoon, when security checked the file logs, they found. I never imagined I'd be the quiet one in the middle of a workplace scandal. My name's Valerie. I'm 43. I work in financial compliance at a mid-sized healthcare tech firm just outside Des Moines, Iowa. I've always kept to myself, get in early, do my job, leave on time. I'm not flashy, not one for office gossip. I've been with the company almost 11 years. People respected me, even if I wasn't part of the after-work drinks crew. That's where Talia came in. Talia joined about 2 years ago, right out of grad school. She was sharp, I'll give her that. Tech-savvy, charming in a fake smile, LinkedIn influencer kind of way. She wore expensive shoes, talked fast, and always made sure everyone knew when she stayed late. At first, I didn't mind her. She seemed like a typical go-getter, a little arrogant, but nothing new. Then she started doing this thing. Every time our team had a presentation, she'd slide in a few lines from my work and pass them off as her own. I didn't say anything at first. I figured, pick your battles. But then it kept happening. She'd sit in on my client calls, scribble notes, then repackage my research into her slide decks. And suddenly people started noticing her. Management started inviting her to more strategy meetings. One day, she walked into the office and casually mentioned she'd been tapped for advancement. It stung, but I still said nothing. Then came Wednesday morning. I'll never forget it. I was at my desk reviewing our department's Q3 reconciliation logs when I heard stomping down the hallway. It was Talia, loud heels, angry face. She burst into the open office space like she was on a courtroom drama. She stole it, she shouted. I know she did. Everyone looked up. People froze mid-call. You could hear a pin drop. Then she pointed straight at me. Valerie, you accessed the secure folder last night. That file, the updated licensing compliance report, it's gone. You sabotaged me. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. She kept going. She's always been jealous, she screamed, almost crying now. She hates that I'm younger, that I'm getting promoted, that people actually listen to me. I stared at her, silent. Not because I was guilty, but because I was stunned at how far she was taking this act. Everyone was watching. My manager, Ryan, stood frozen behind his desk. Our new CFO, Mary Ellen, stepped out of her office mid-phone call. Talia collapsed into a chair, still sobbing. She wants to ruin me. She wants to make me look incompetent before the board meeting. I looked around the room. No one said a word. So I stood up. Quietly. I picked up my coffee mug, grabbed my laptop bag, and walked out without a word. I didn't go far, just to the building cafeteria. I texted Ryan. When you're ready to review the access logs, I'll be available. But I won't defend myself to screaming. He didn't reply. That afternoon, everything changed. Security ran a check of the server logs. Our IT director, Mike, a guy who never cared much for office drama, called me into his office. He was grim. She accessed the file herself at 12:13 a.m. from her home IP, he said. Then deleted it at 12:14 a.m. And then she copied a dummy version of the folder into her work directory to make it look like someone sabotaged it. I didn't say anything. My jaw just tightened. She also accessed your profile, he added, turning his monitor. Looks like she tried to replicate your login attempt. Sloppy. Her VPN froze mid-ping, so it logged a duplicate trace. He turned back to me. We're opening a formal investigation. 2 days later, Talia was put on administrative leave. But the fallout was far from over. Continue the story, add conflicts or story twist, keeping the details sharp and the tone dramatic, use simple words. No ending yet, you said. Next, ChatGPT said. The company tried to keep things quiet, but you can't scream sabotage in front of 20 coworkers and expect it to disappear. By Monday morning, everyone knew Talia was on leave. HR sent out a vague internal compliance review email. No names, no details, but the whole floor buzzed with whispers. Some people avoided me. Others started treating me like I was glass, too fragile to talk to, like I might shatter. The ones who mattered stayed close, though. My friend Nate from payroll stopped by my desk that morning with a coffee and just said, I know you didn't do it. Just glad you're still here. I nodded, but the truth was, I was shaken. Not because I was scared for my job. The logs had cleared me. I was shaken because I'd let it get this far. Because for months, I had smiled through stolen credit and backhanded compliments. And the one time I chose to stay silent, she nearly destroyed my career. But I wasn't done. Not yet. The day after she was suspended, I asked IT if they could show me every folder she had access to since her start date. I had a hunch, and Mike owed me one. What I found made my stomach flip. Talia had been building a hidden project proposal, a copy of one I had submitted last fall. An idea for a cross-platform compliance automation tool that I had spent weeks writing up. I had pitched it to our former director, who brushed it off as not urgent. Now it was sitting in her private cloud folder. Rebranded, slightly rewritten, with her name at the top. It had a presentation deck, budget outline, and even mock-ups made by our own design team. People I knew she barely worked with. I realized then that she'd been feeding them my ideas for months. She was building her whole promotion path off the backs of other people's work. Mainly mine. So I printed it all out. Every timestamp, every version log, every folder tree. I made a copy of my original pitch. Then I went straight to Mary Ellen, the CFO. I walked into her office and said, "I think you need to see this." She didn't say a word the entire time I laid it out. She just looked down, flipping page after page, her face hard and unreadable. Finally, she said, "Did anyone else help her with this?" I hesitated, then said, "I don't know." But she had access to teams I didn't. Mary Ellen nodded slowly. Then she stood up and walked out of her office, documents in hand. What happened next wasn't immediate. This wasn't a movie where justice falls like a hammer in one clean swing. It took weeks. While the investigation continued, I kept my head down. But I started noticing things. Talia's name was stripped from the upcoming project meetings. I was invited to present my automation idea to the board. This time they listened. People from other departments reached out, quietly. They shared that she had taken credit for their work too. A marketing lead, a junior analyst, even someone from IT. Turns out, Talia had made a habit of climbing by stepping on people's shoulders. Then one Thursday morning she came back. She walked through the door like nothing had happened. Tight smile, sunglasses in her hair, her designer bag slung over one shoulder. The air in the office changed instantly. People watched her, whispered. No one said a word to her directly. She stopped by my desk. "I hope you're proud of yourself," she said, loud enough for nearby desks to hear. I looked at her. Just looked. No reaction. She leaned in, voice lower now. "You think this is over?" "It's not. I know people." "You don't." I didn't respond. Just picked up my phone and sent a quick message to HR. "She's threatening me at my desk." Security came down in 10 minutes. They didn't escort her out yet. But later that day, a new email went out. "Talia L. is no longer employed with our company. We thank her for her contributions and wish her the best." That was it. Cold. Corporate. Final. But I wasn't done. Not with her. Because 2 weeks later, I found out she'd landed a new job. A better one. With a healthcare analytics firm in Cedar Rapids. And guess what? She used my project automation proposal in her application packet. Rebranded. Again. And that's when I decided, no more silence. I was going to make sure this never happened again. I didn't want to become a whistleblower. I really didn't. But when I saw the press release on LinkedIn, Talia L. joins Metascope Analytics as Director of Process Innovation. With my automation idea listed under key initiatives she's expected to lead, I snapped. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Same buzzwords. Same structure. Even the mock-up design from my original deck, now just updated with Metascope's branding. That night, I barely slept. I sat at my kitchen table with the original files, the timestamps, her plagiarized version, the forwarded job announcement, laying it all out like a damn crime board. The next morning, I made the call. I asked for Metascope's HR department and requested to speak with someone in executive hiring. I gave them my name, where I worked, and told them I had something urgent to report. When they hesitated, I said plainly, "The new director of process innovation at your company has submitted plagiarized intellectual property that originated from my work. I have proof. You may want to take this seriously before your investors do." That got me transferred. A woman named Deborah called me back later that afternoon. VP of Operations. Calm voice. She didn't sound surprised. She asked me to email everything over. So I did. I sent a zip file with every document. The original project, my version, Talia's version, server timestamps, forwarded company emails, and a notarized letter from our IT director confirming the deletion and recovery of the original files from our system. Then I waited. 4 days passed. On day 5, I got a response. "Thank you for your documentation. We are reviewing this matter internally." We appreciate your integrity and the professionalism with which you've handled this. That same evening, Talia's shiny new job post disappeared from LinkedIn. No announcement. No update. Just gone. A week later, a new face was announced as the Director of Process Innovation at Metascope. It wasn't Talia. And for a second, I thought that was it. But then things got worse for her. A former coworker from our marketing team, Julia, reached out to me in a private message. She told me something that turned my stomach. Apparently, a recruiter had reached out to Julia months back. Said they were checking Talia's references. Talia had listed Julia as one of them. Problem was Julia never agreed. When she told the recruiter that, they were surprised and said Talia had given specific examples of work they'd done together. Julia was furious. She'd been quiet too, but now she wanted to act. So we got others involved. There were 5 of us, me, Julia, Nate from payroll, Chris from IT, and Mia from design. Each of us had a story. Each of us had been used or manipulated by Talia to help her climb. We weren't trying to ruin her life. We just wanted the truth to matter. We sent our collective complaints, testimonies, and documentation to the local chapter of the National Compliance Professionals Network, a group that Metascope publicly partners with. We included every file, timeline, and witness statement. 2 weeks later, Talia's LinkedIn was wiped clean. No more job titles. No fancy endorsements. Just a blank bio with seeking new opportunities. And then came the lawsuit. Not from me, but from our former company. I got a call from Mary Ellen. She said, "We've filed a cease and desist against Talia L. for misappropriation of proprietary material. Our legal team is pursuing civil damages. Just thought you should know." I sat there in silence. "You're suing her?" "She breached multiple policies," Mary Ellen said. "And she embarrassed this company publicly. She won't do it again." I nodded. Slowly. But the part that hit the hardest? Talia's mother called me. I didn't even know how she got my number. I was at home when my phone rang from an unlisted number. I answered, and this soft, shaking voice said, "Valerie? My name is Denise. I'm Talia's mother." I almost hung up, but she kept talking. "She's not okay," Denise said. "She's been spiraling since she lost the job. I found her crying in her apartment yesterday, surrounded by wine bottles and unopened mail. She won't talk to anyone. She says she's being destroyed by lies." I stayed quiet. Denise continued, "I don't know what she did to you. I'm not calling to defend her. I thought you should know that this, whatever this has become, it's really hurt her." I exhaled. A long, bitter breath. "I didn't destroy her," I said quietly. "She did that herself." "I believe you," Denise whispered. "I just don't know how to help her anymore." I didn't either. And I wasn't sure I cared. But the guilt lingered. The feeling that somehow, even though I'd been the one targeted, I had still played a part in ruining someone's life. Even if she deserved it. 2 months after the lawsuit was filed, I heard the final blow landed. It was a quiet Wednesday. I was in my office going over compliance flags when our front desk receptionist, Debbie, knocked on my door. "You're going to want to see this," she said, her voice low. She handed me her phone. It was a link to a local Des Moines Business Journal article. The headline hit like a punch to the chest. "Former tech exec sued for intellectual property theft, career in freefall." There was a picture of Talia, smiling, confident, standing in front of a podium at a conference. Below it, the article laid it all out. The lawsuit, her termination from Metascope, the plagiarism claims, statements from former coworkers, and even quotes from the National Compliance Professionals Network, who had officially blacklisted her from their organization. She was done. But what really got me was the quote from her father. He spoke on record. "We're heartbroken. We had no idea the extent of what she was doing. She always talked about her work like she was climbing some big mountain. We were proud. But it turns out she'd been stepping on people to get up there. And now, I can't even look at her the same." That's when I felt something crack. Not satisfaction. Not victory. Just a cold, hollow ache. The article went viral locally. People who had once praised her were suddenly scrubbing their profiles, deleting tags, and ghosting her. Her college alumni group removed her from the mentorship panel. A podcast she was supposed to guest on replaced her with someone else, no explanation given. Then I heard through the grapevine, her fiancé left her. She'd been engaged to a guy named Spencer, some up-and-coming real estate developer. I'd only met him once at a work function. The kind of guy who measured everything in status. One day, I got a LinkedIn request from him. I didn't accept it, but the message he sent stuck with me. I should have listened when people said she was fake. I just didn't think someone could lie that easily. She told me you were out to destroy her. She said everyone was jealous. Turns out she was just projecting. He left her 2 weeks after the lawsuit went public. She moved out of her downtown condo soon after. Last I heard, she was living with her sister on the east side of town. The same Talia who once bragged about bottomless brunches and flying to Denver for a weekend just to ski was now doing Instacart deliveries, trying to piece her life back together. But karma didn't stop there. I found out she applied for a job at another health tech startup in Chicago. She made it through 2 interviews before someone from their HR team reached out to Mary Ellen, our CFO. Apparently, they were doing a reference check. Mary Ellen didn't hold back. She misappropriated internal documents, created a hostile work environment, and tried to destroy a colleague's reputation to cover her own theft, she told them. You'd be gambling the integrity of your entire leadership team if you hire her. They dropped her immediately. Her name became a warning sign. Now every time she tries to apply for anything in this industry, her name lights up red in their compliance databases. She's been flagged, not just for stealing, but for lying, manipulating, and weaponizing workplace politics to get ahead. She built her career on smoke, and once it burned down, there was nothing left. And me, I didn't get a promotion. Not right away. That's not how real life works. But I got something better, respect. My coworkers knew I didn't lie. My leadership trusted me. I was invited to real strategy meetings, not just to fill a seat. I eventually got to lead the automation project she tried to steal. We rolled it out 6 months later, and it saved the company hundreds of hours in labor every quarter. No public ceremony. No applause. But I knew. And they knew. The best part? I never raised my voice. I never stooped to her level. I let the truth do what it needed to do. But I'll tell you this. If she ever walks into another company and tries to fake her way to the top again, I'll make damn sure someone sends them the article. Not because I want to ruin her all over again, but because I remember what it felt like, standing in that office with 20 people staring at me while she screamed that I was jealous. She tried to bury me, but I was the ground she stood on. And now she has to live with that.